Hello, 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 hello. What's up, everybody? And welcome to another episode of the Xbox International Podcast. We are right now at this very morning, flight number 64. Only how much is that one? Two, three, four. What is it, 46 or 36 episodes left to reach 100? I don't know, but probably my number's wrong, but yeah. I know we're
30,
getting close to
36.
Oh, 36. Okay, we're getting close to 100. Either way, it's close. It's close. It's closer. But yes, we are on flight 64, and let's start off real fast and ask right away, Mr. Silent Cypher, how are you doing today, sir?
Louis, I'm doing great, man. We're halfway through the work week. I'm super stoked for this weekend, especially because I've been doing a bunch of yard work and not as much gaming as I would like to. I'm super stoked to get back to playing some stuff that I've actually been tooling around with recently. So yeah, doing great. Looking forward to talking to you guys this evening.
All right, same here, same here. Man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, we got Mortal Kombat, we got PlayStation, we got Zelda. Oh, man, we got a little bit to talk about Zelda. Woohoo, I'm super excited. And speaking about Zelda and its ugly monsters, Sourblow, you're one of the ugly monsters. How are you doing today, sir?
Okay, I'm doing great. I'm doing the great. Thanks for giving me those compliments. But but anyway, been here in the house doing a lot of yard work. Yard work. Well, I can't. Whatever. But anyway, I'm excited for tonight. Not only because of the podcast, not only because we're gonna talk gaming, but because my Celtics are gonna win tonight and get their
Mm-hmm.
first W on the Eastern Conference Final,
Mm-hmm.
and they're a step closer. They're gonna be a step closer to winning it all.
Mm-hmm. The funny thing is, we don't care, but it's okay. We love you, though. We love you, though. and
Sports.
yeah, sports. Yeah, talk about sports, NBA stuff. Yep. Oh man, and speaking about NBA and playing stuff, we've been playing a lot of games lately. I can imagine. Let's start with you, Sourblow. What have you been playing, sir?
Okay, well, oh crap, I haven't even changed the scenery. But anyway, what have I? I'm sorry, I've been so distracted. But what have I been playing? um, so I've been playing Gears 5. Like I said, I finished already some of the games last week that I wanted to finish, and I was stuck on. I would say he's kind of like a berserker guy. I was kind of stuck there, and my buddy Jay Vargas got in it with me, aka Sickle Cell. Shout out to him, and we managed to get past him, and then we played a little bit more, and we talked a little bit about gaming, etc. Other than that, I've been playing MLB The Show. I actually started a league with a couple of friends, 10 to be specific. And nothing. Looking forward to playing the leagues with those guys. See what happens. Who comes on top? There's already a lot of trash talk there. Oh my god, King Cobra crazy. Oh my god, it hasn't even started, and he's like he won everything. So shout out to King Cobra, and
You,
shout out to Ecstasy. He's also in it.
you look, you're not in it because man, there's nobody better than trash talking than me, man. I mean, I can trash talk you more than
Mm,
who's this
I
You're a
guy?
don't buy
trash.
it. I don't buy
You're a
it.
What?
you're a trash talker. All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can trash talk you, like this guy. What's this guy's name? Like Buddy Rogers? No, not Buddy Rogers. I forgot. It's some famous wrestler name. But either way, though, Silent, tell us what you've been playing, sir.
Right. Well, yeah. So I've been having fun with a few different things over the last little bit. So I did play some Zelda over the last few days. Obviously,
No.
yeah. I know. I know.
Hmm
I know. Well,
I was hearing this before the show start, and I was like, no, this is he's kidding, he's playing around, but you actually been playing Zelda.
yep. Yep. So I've played about 3 hours, 3.5 is what it looked like from what I could tell. And I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts for sure. I think it's really frustrating because I understand where like a lot of the fans are in regards to like how they're praising this game so far, but I just feel like it's a swing and a miss for Nintendo. The fact that they're basically handicapping, like they're hamstringing the devs to make a game on a console that is far outdated as far as the tech goes at this point. It's frustrating because it's like you look at the visuals, you look at everything that's there, and it's like the art style's there, it looks good, but I guarantee you, like, the developer's vision was not jaggies on the characters. And there's a lot of jaggies on that game. I guarantee you also that, you know, like the dev's vision was not sub 30 frames per second. Guarantee you that. Like, they want something buttery smooth. They want you to feel like you're immersed in the experience. And that's not there. Like, I had a pretty substantial amount of times where you could tell it was kind of like grinding to a halt as far as the frames per second went.
Wait,
Like once or what's that?
isn't only the Series S the one that cannot do more than 30?
Nope. You know, it's interesting some of the damage control I've seen over the last couple of weeks. I get it. It's like, you know, I want games to be good too. And I understand that like this is a hardware constraint thing. It's not like the team necessarily had much of a choice for this game to come out the way that it did. But I also don't feel like the reviews were fair. Dropping a bunch of 10s and 9s when the game is plagued by this many issues on the hardware scale. I'm sorry, but like that doesn't pass the muster with me. It's the same thing with like Redfall. It's like I heard a lot of people being like, no one's going to punish these games for low frames and stuff like that. Why not? It doesn't make a good experience when the game is chugging in sections. And I think the thing that frustrates me about this game, and it's a problem I had with Breath of the Wild as well, is when I was playing the game, I felt like it was very empty. Like it's a very big world. There's a lot that could be going on, but it felt like it wasn't very lived in. And I feel like that's still kind of a regular occurring theme on this. I feel like, you know, you play something like Cyberpunk, you play some of these other games nowadays, and it feels lived in. There's a bunch of characters roaming around. There's stuff going on. And obviously that speaks to the fact that there's limitations on the hardware that prevent you from having that much stuff going on. There's not enough memory on that system to run that much at once. So I get that. It's the same thing as the graphics, right? They don't have the same anisotropic filtering or some of like the trilinear filtering or some of those ones that like PC or some of the Xbox and PlayStation stuff has. And so you see that, like you see some of those ugly warts and moles on the game, and it sucks because, again, like I said, you can tell that the devs have done a really good job with what they were given. But at the same time, I can't give that a 10 or a 9 and pretend like those things don't exist. I feel like that's kind of a disservice. And I feel like if you give them a 10 or a 9 for this game and say, "Attaboy, you did fantastic," I feel like Nintendo takes that as feedback where it's a first party and says, well, we don't really need to worry about changing up the hardware that fast because everyone's happy with the status quo. I don't think that's a valid reason to just be like, it's fine.
Well, if reviews are great, and then the game is selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, which we know it has been, right? So we were talking about it earlier today, and it was what, like 13 million copies? 10 or 13, somewhere in that range.
Wow.
That's a lot of copies in the span of 4 or 5 days. That's impressive. I'll give them props there. But at the same time, I mean, it better be selling that much. It's a first party for that system, and it's one of the games that they see as a system seller for their system. If it wasn't selling that much, I'd be concerned. It's not that big compared to the install base, and I'm sure that'll obviously change as time goes on, just like, you know, PSVR 2 for the PlayStation will. But yeah, I mean, I could sit here and I could drone on and on and on, but essentially the long and short of it is seems like it's a good game from what I can tell, but it seems like it's a hollow experience because they had to deal with hardware constraints that honestly, like, again, I don't think that's what the devs creative vision was to have to work around those constraints. I
Yeah.
feel like that was a disservice to the devs. They should have already brought out that Switch Pro at this point. The hardware is outdated.
It's
But
coming. It's coming on June.
I keep
What?
hearing that it's coming. Yeah,
No,
people
June.
are
They announced
June?
it. You
sure.
missed it?
No,
What?
I
What?
must have.
Yeah,
I
it's
must
called
have.
the Switch Ally.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
I've got one of those coming, incidentally. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Um,
But
but
crazy. What
but
you been playing,
oh,
crazy?
hold on, real quick
Oh,
before
okay.
before you
Sorry,
bounce.
sorry,
Crazy.
sorry.
Sorry, I'm just gonna hog all the time today. I did play something else, and I have had a much more enjoyable experience with it so far, and that has been Resident Evil 4,
Oh,
the remake.
nice. I bet.
That has been a lot of fun so far.
Yep.
Visually, the game plays really well. Like the controls and everything have been great.
And
I never ended up fully completing the game back when it was on GameCube back in the day. I didn't pick it up after it came back out on PS2. So this is my first time actually doing a full complete game playthrough on it, and I'm
nice.
really enjoying it.
Im-
It's good. I'll
Imagine,
report back as I have more.
imagine
Oh,
Code Veronica
No, no one
today.
wants to. No one wants to imagine Code Veronica.
What? Come on.
No.
okay. Before I go to crazy,
What's up?
I just want to say, you guys heard it from Silent Cypher. Okay, we have nothing to do with it. I don't know if crazy
Yep.
has something to do with it. He basically said Resident Evil 4 was better than Zelda. I did. We did not. We got no
I've
responsibility on that.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, and again, uh, being completely fair, the hardware constraints. When you're playing on a Nintendo Switch, you're not going to have a game as visually stunning as a game on newer hardware. Like the Switch is outdated at this point. If they had newer hardware that could handle more of the functionality, more of the features, then yeah, Zelda would look great. Zelda would not have jaggies all over the place. Like I
Yep.
look around, I'm like, this is a beautiful place. And we were talking about it behind the scenes. The audio, I feel like, is the only thing that isn't negatively impacted by the Switch
Wow.
and the hardware constraints. Like everything else, I feel like you have to, if you are being diligent in your rating on the game, you have to deduct points for the fact that it plays kind of like hot trash in some spots.
Dear Lord.
Sorry.
Heavens. Okay. Okay.
Facts are facts, and facts hurt sometimes.
Yeah.
Truth hurt.
Uh-huh.
Crazy. What you been playing?
Oh man, I gotta tell you what I've been playing, man. You all won't believe it what I've been playing. Nothing. Nah, I'm just kidding. Well, I've been playing. What's it called? I've been playing Callisto Protocol. I started this Friday. I think I'm almost done with the game. It's a really short game.
Really? You've been playing it? You haven't mentioned it. You've been
Yeah,
quiet about it, huh?
I've been playing Callisto Protocol. Yeah,
You
it's
sure it's not
okay.
the missus playing for you?
No, I've been playing it. Trust me, it's been me. She no, she gets dizzy when she plays games that they're 60 FPS. She gets real dizzy. She doesn't like to play those type of games. She likes to
Wait, she
play.
get dizzy with 60.
Yep, she does. 60/30. She gets dizzy like that. And so, yes, I've been playing Callisto. It's been a lot of fun, but it seems like a short game. And something that I found weird is that it's pretty much the same bad guys. Nothing has like changed. Well, yeah, right now I'm at the part where they get like in steroid mode, but other than that,
No spoilers.
I have not said anything. I just said steroid mode. That does not mean spoilers.
That's
So,
spoilers.
how is that a spoiler? Because I did not say how did they get
I, di-
steroid mode.
I, I didn't know that.
Yeah, right.
I didn't. I haven't played it yet.
Mhm.
Now I'm gonna go to the game knowing that I'm gonna get to that point.
Okay, that's not a
You've
spoiler,
ruined
but
the
okay.
game for me now.
Okay, then yeah, don't play it then. But either way, though, I've been playing Callisto Protocol, and I started playing also on PC Father's Day, which you all see. Now I've been pretty scared by it. I didn't. I mean, that game is freaking scary. Seriously, I think that's the scariest one I played from America Games. And yeah, man. Other than that, oh man, oh, it's that's all I've been doing and moving up stuff. Grabbing my the whole room setup, moving it little by little. Packing things, getting into boxes to move to the new place. It's just been one insane. I'm tired of moving. I mean, really, and that's only the packing. Once I get there, I have to unpack and do all that stuff. It's gonna be. I'm just tired of moving. Seriously, moving is annoying. Packing everything is annoying. But yeah,
The
yeah.
chat says congratulations, Lou, for
Who said?
being
Who
you
made one?
you you said you were being a father, right? Soon.
What?
Oh yeah,
I said
triplets. I
I'm
heard.
I'm playing the game called Father's Day. How does that come?
Oh, your
Oh,
wife, the boss is preparing you for the
yep.
inevitable future.
Oh my
I
God,
bet you she
no.
probably put it on your wish list. She's like, "Yo, babe, I got a game for you. It's called Father's Day." Wink, wink.
Wait, hmm. Speaking of which,
Oh,
she did add something on the Amazon list of things to order for home, and there was something on there, things for like a baby. So I was like,
Is
what
it
is
work
this?
safe?
Something weird though, something weird. But anyways, let's start off with the flight itinerary, guys. Let's start with Ubisoft 8 games. That's where we're gonna start on the climb. There's also TLOTR. Isn't it the Lines of the Road game? What? What is TLOTR?
the what?
TLOTR, the Lines of the Road game? What is that?
Oh, sweet Jesus, crazy!
Oh
You're
my God,
you're
What is
crazy.
hurting
that?
my. You're
The
hurting. Oh,
the Lord of the Ring.
That means okay, the Lord of the Rings game. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about the
wow.
oh my God, the Lord of the Rings game. And also, and for the main topic, of course, we're going to be drinking a cup of tea. We're going to be talking about EU approved, the ABKDO. So, Captain, it's time for you to take us off.
All
All
right.
right, real
Well.
quick before you begin, let me test something.
Oh, what are
Oh,
you
actually,
testing?
okay. I tested something, but okay, I actually did it beforehand. But go ahead.
All right. Well,
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, Sour has turned on the subscribe button. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Please stow your food and beverages right next to your desk, underneath your seat, or in front of you. Please take your seat and fasten your seatbelt, and also make sure that you've hit that notification bell. We gently remind you that smoking and drinking are not prohibited on this flight. However, talking talking about the Lion of the Robe game like crazy here, strictly prohibited.
robe. I
If you
said,
have any questions about our flight today, please don't hesitate to ask one of our flight panelists. Thank you.
all right, let me do real. You're on the flight. Let's see who's here. Oh, what is Sour doing? Sour, what are you doing?
Go,
Oh, keep going.
go
Okay, okay, okay.
ahead.
Sorry. All right, that's new for me. I was like, what's going on? But anyways, let's say what's up to it's living a lot, Timmy. What's up? It's Timmy back from the dead. How are you doing, Sir Sanchez Martinez Gaming? Hello, Decado. How are you doing, Mr. Dark? Mr. Dark, we finally got receipts on Silent Plain Zelda. We have receipts. Yes, we
Yeah.
do have receipts on that,
And
folks.
you got my honest opinion and
And
my
he
current
got
experience.
yes,
Yeah.
we got a long rant too. Besides that, but either we got receipts. Did I say Decado already? I think I did say Decado. Keep going down the list. Who else is on here? The fifth horseman. How are you doing, sir? Woohoo! Who else is here? I think that's about it, guys. So, Captain, let us start with the show.
Gosh dang. All right. Man, it's been one heck of a week, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and touch on some smaller topics real quick, and then we'll get into some main stuff. So one of the things that we wanted to touch base on real fast is just the fact that Forza Horizon 5 has now hit over 30 million players in just 18 months after release. Which, gosh dang, that is a lot of gameplay. It's almost as if having a game like that on Game Pass has been super beneficial. We obviously know that their sell through was really good as far as actual digital and physical copies went. Also, we had already found out that they were in pretty good space even before the game launched. So the fact that this has hit this, I mean, it's great to see. Congrats to that team. Like they continue to support it. It's obviously in way better shape as far as the online connectivity and the stability compared to what it was when we first started playing. I Sour, I don't know if you remember the shenanigans that we ended up running into when we first tried to play, but it's like every time we tried to get together, it would disconnect like one or two of us, and then as soon as one of us got hooked in, someone else got kicked out. Like it was a mess.
Yeah.
That being said, they've done a really good and diligent job about like updating this thing, getting it to a stable area. The game plays great now, and honestly, like I need to get back into it again soon. I feel like I dove into it really hard early on, but you know, we finally actually started having some games come out over the last few months, so I've been playing some other stuff as well. But gentlemen, now that we're where we're at, and given like the DLC and stuff that's released, are we able to jump back into some Forza Horizon 5? Sour, would you play some more Forza Horizon 5? What do
So,
you think of this 30 million?
so playing Forza.
I beat you
Would your son
once,
like to
so
play Forza? Oh, once. That was your
Once.
son.
Wow.
That was your son.
no,
Yeah,
that was
approved.
that was me.
Approved.
That was me. Okay,
Yeah, right.
and I
Sure.
beat him fair and square. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, guy that Forza isn't like my bread and butter. But as long
Nothing
as
is.
if I'm playing it with other people, I'm I'm more than I'm more than happy to tag along and play and just have some fun. At the end of the day, it's about having fun, and I'm very happy that this game has 30 million because it's well deserved. Even though it's a car game, but it's like the Transformer theme. It's more than meets the eye. So you kind of gotta play it.
Oh,
It's very extended.
Mm.
I this was actually well, I played a little bit of the four, but it was really like just testing it because I saw the trailer for Forza 5, and has been the one I actually have played the most, and you know, it's very good. It's very good. Yeah, I really miss jumping in with you guys. I'll say
it's it's
that.
been far too long. I guess the big question at this point remains is crazy. Will your boss let you play with us? Can you sneak away at some point and we can play some games? Can you
Yes,
get permission?
why would I be stopped to playing the game? Of course, I can be able to play Forza. Why not? Not only that, I still play Forza Fridays. Forza Fridays. With the guys that
That's
we do.
true.
That's true.
That's
I still play Forza Fridays, and we sit there for 3 hours. And I'm be honest with you, the connectivity is way better. I mean, after the DLC came out, what was it? The Hot Wheels DLC, and then
yep.
yeah, the other one came out too. But either way, after the Hot Wheels DLC came out, like a month or two later, they actually fixed that. So it's way better. It's way better. I mean, we go through like 10 races without having any issues. The only issues we have is that people tend to forget to press the damn X in order to jump in the game. But
That's
uh,
that's
Oh yeah,
true.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I
yeah,
th-
it
I think
happens.
I mean I don't know. I don't know a good fix for it, but yes, I would definitely agree. Like that is something. God, we got to figure that out when it comes to these Forza Horizon games at some point. I hope that someone in that dev team has heard this complaint before, because yes, you are dead on the money. The fact that like you'll jump into a match and inevitably, I'll tell you right now, if we're playing with my brother, it's going to be my brother that misses the prompt, and
Yeah,
he's going to say it didn't pop up because
it's
he has a hard time admitting the truth.
yeah,
but but yeah, like you run into it and it's just like, hey, wait, where's Covert at? Where's Louis at? Where's
yeah.
whoever? And it's like, oh, sorry guys, I forgot to press the button. I was modifying my car. Like, there's there's got to be something that they can do where they can have you do like an opt-in or something, where it's like you are now part of the party.
I
Do
got
you want to get include into races with them immediately, or click B to opt out instead of clicking to opt in, you know?
I got the quick, simple solution. You know what it is?
What's that?
If you're the damn leader, if you're going into a race, everybody just hop on right away. You don't have to press the damn X. That's it. Just hop in. That's it. You don't have to
Well,
do that. That's all. Because seriously, if I mean we're all together, right? We are all
yeah.
together in a group. We have a leader. Of course. What is the point to that? We are all going to race. Why the heck are we want to press a button? You know, just drop us in the race and let's go. That's
Yes.
all.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
and that's what I'm saying, right? Is
Yeah.
like the idea of maybe instead of having to do an opt-in, set it so you click X to opt out. You know, is like because if you just set it so it's that you're going
Yeah.
to get added into those races no matter what, like that would make it so much so
Yeah.
much easier. Because I can't count how many times like we're sitting there late in the
Yeah.
evening, we've had a couple beers, we've had a couple beverages, we're just
Mhm.
chilling, and it's super easy to stop communicating that like, hey, I'm starting a race now, everyone
Yeah.
click X. You know, it's like you forget about it. And if they just had it set up where it was an opt out instead of an opt in, it'd probably make it more efficient. It'd make it less frustrating, I would say, for sure. One other thing that I did want to say on this before we bounce on to the next is I think, like you mentioned, obviously we had the Hot Wheels expansion, which this one was pretty well fleshed out, it felt like, versus the first one. Pretty substantial, that map, that content. But I think the rally was a really smart move for them too, because you know Forza hasn't really dove into the rally type of stuff before. Like they've kind of done some of the off-road stuff, but this was the first time that they kind of dipped their toes into that side as well. And I think that was a really smart idea. I think that probably pulled a lot of extra people in, just in the fact that, like, you know, we look at the situation with Dirt and some of that stuff right now. Obviously, that changed ownership to EA. I think right after we had the last Dirt
Yes.
released. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's like it's almost the perfect time to strike the iron while it's hot, right? Is you're the only one out there that's doing a game that potentially has that rally feel at the moment. That was a really good time to release a rally version, especially because we don't know what the future is going to be of Dirt 5 or of Dirt at this point. So that was good, and I'm sure that that helped also. I know rally's kind of a niche type of game type compared to some of like the sim and some of the general racing, but still, I mean, it obviously had to have had a decent effect. But we're going to move on to the next thing now, of which Crazy kind of gave us a small teaser of earlier. It was Lord, Lamb of the
Well,
Rugs or
no,
Lion of
no,
the
no, no.
Robes or
Here's the thing, though. I know Lotr. I know that, but he
yeah.
put Tlord.
So
So I was like,
he put a the in front of
duh,
it and it threw you
yeah,
for a loop.
yeah. I thought it was like
Yeah.
the lines of the road. I was like, is
Sure.
this like some? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, I for one am very excited for the Lions of the Robe. But in regards to the Lord of the Rings, we've discovered that there is going to be an MMORPG. It's been announced and it's going to be developed by Amazon Games and published by Embracer Group. Obviously, we know that Embracer now has the license for the Lord of the Rings stuff, which is a big get for them. It makes me a little sad just because, like, I'm guessing we probably will never see another Shadow of Mordor because of some of the rights issues and stuff that have kind of come into play. But, so obviously we know at this point, we know that this is in early stages of production. It's supposed to be an open world MMO set in a persistent Middle Earth. It's going to be launching on consoles and PC, and it's supposedly going to be bringing players on a fresh take for Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
Now, I'm going to pass it off to you guys in just a second, but I think for me, sadly, this just doesn't do anything because you say a couple of the words I just do not care at all about. One is MMO. I
Oh,
do not care about MMOs. I'm sorry. You can try and excite me about it, but I live in a time with kids and responsibilities where I can't just sit there and waste hours and hours. Uh, consecutively, right? Like if I can pause something and go back to something quickly, that's doable. MMOs just have never been something I can get into, what with kids and stuff like that needing attention on a regular basis. But I do want to know for you guys, are you excited about this? Are you guys, I guess the first question, right, is are you into Lord of the Rings? We'll start with Crazy. Crazy, are you excited about Lord of the Rings games in general? Are you excited about an MMO in that?
If it's the Lord of the Rings, like I played it, what was it? Shadow of the Mordor games.
I highly doubt it.
If it's like that, oh, I'm all the way down because man, I'm a big fan of Shadow of Mordor. That's one of my favorite games from last generation. I love the when you did a combo and you did like the cool kills. Oh man, I just love the swordplay in that game. It was freaking fantastic. One of the best games I played in. Actually, it's one of my top 10 games of my lifetime. Really loved it to death. Loved it. And if it's like that, then cool. But if it's like an MMO type of thing, that kind of like World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is an MMO, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
It's if it's like that, and Destiny stuff like that. I don't want to get sucked into that because I used to be a Destiny crazy guy, but then I just found out I was just doing the same thing, picking up weapons, picking up yellow stuff, exotics, and all this cool stuff. But it gets to a point that you have to step away because then you start having a huge backlog of games. But yeah, if it's gonna be like that, then. But I have to wait and see. I'll give it a chance if I see it. And if I like, the sword fighting and everything looks cool, then I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go.
So I think the only little bit of blowback that I'm gonna kind of throw your way with that, right, is that because it's going to be developed by Amazon Games. Obviously, we're not talking about the team that did Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War. So I think right off the bat, unfortunately for you and for me, because trust me, if they got Monolith in there doing this game, then yes, that would have me way more excited because I've seen the pedigree of Monolith even before they played the Lord of the Rings games and they did all that stuff with the Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor. But this one's kind of a question mark, right? Because like who is Embracer going to have do it if they're employing anyone, or is it mainly focused on Amazon games? And if it's focused directly on their dev studios, who in those studios can I trust to do something like this? I get a little nervous with that because I feel like we're just in a situation where it's like it's uncertain hands in regards to like who's going to be involved with this thing. But yes, I agree with you 100%. If it were like Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor, I would give it a shot. Even though it's an MMO, I would be willing to give it a shot. But I think that's my main restraint on that situation right now. But Sour, what are your thoughts on this? Does this excite you at all? Are you a Lord of the Rings guy? Do you want to jump into a Lord of the Rings MMO, as it were?
Okay, well, first of all, on Lord of the Ring, I really like Lord of the Ring. I feel it's basically probably one of the best trilogy, if not the best trilogy in movies ever for me personally.
Star
Even
Wars.
though not really, nah. I
Oh.
love Star Wars more than like I love the franchise more than Lord of the Ring,
Hmm.
but the Lord of the Ring movie as a whole were better. Um, Kind of hard to watch them through. Like one sit down, I actually had to watch them, break them in half because
They're long.
they feel so long
Yeah.
too. They're not only long, they feel long, but
It's a journey.
it's a journey. It's a journey. So that part, great for them. But in MMOs, I was a huge fan of MMOs. I played a bunch of MMOs. That's basically on PC. I played so many hours of World of Warcraft, um, Archage, Guild Wars 2. I could name so many other MMOs that I did play, but unfortunately, like you said, we get older, we get kids. In those games, you have to dedicate hours and hours, and if you don't dedicate hours and hours to it and grind and all that, you might as well not play the game. Those
Hmm.
type of games. So unfortunately, it's a game that I'm not looking forward to. But I will say this: I know you mentioned that Amazon Games is gonna do it, and you're kind of skeptical on them.
They
But
have a good MMO, don't they?
yeah, since it's
Yeah.
MMO, they actually first they started with I think it was like Lost Ark, which that one was good
Mhm.
actually. But then they came out with New World. I think that one came after, and that one was supposed to be even better. I think the problem with them with that one is after a while, I think it was missing more content or something like that. Like they should have added more content, but they got a good track record for being new at this. I do see that they're also working on Blue Protocol. I don't know if you got to see that trailer. That one looks pretty interesting too. So
I don't know if I think maybe I saw it. Was it part of one of the game shows or did it just kind of release on its own?
no, I think it was in a game show. It's
Okay.
coming soon. It still hasn't released, but it looks like it has great potential. So
Hmm.
so I think I think they have good talent there. I just it's a shame that Amazon is not fully invested into gaming because I feel like if they were fully invested and they buy like a publisher, they can actually become that fourth competitor.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that brings up a really good point, right? Is you do mention obviously they have a decent foundation in regards to MMOs and stuff, given the track record that they've played around with so far. But it is tricky in the fact that it's like they're literally just basically like grabbing the rights so they can do this thing. Embracer's basically like, yes, give us tons of money for the rights, and you go do whatever you want to do. And Embracer is kind of lucky in that situation because it's just like what you see in film, right? Is like you'll have big development studios, big studios, they'll come out, they'll support a movie or something, but they'll launch it off as like this unique little like indie title name. So that way they're not getting the blowback if it turns out that that thing's a flaming pile. Um, you look at something like what is it? It's like the Weinstein Company and stuff, right? They did a lot of that at that point in time before we found out about the Weinsteins and the history there. But like they would do the same type of thing, or Paramount would do the same type of thing, or Fox. Like Fox had Searchlight and stuff like that. And you had those little like splinter groups that would make a movie, and if it failed, they're like, it's that wasn't us. That was someone
Hmm.
else. We were just supporting the vision. And so
Oh.
like Embracer can kind of play that game. I worry if Amazon's already got these other MMOs that are kind of lined up, I wonder if they concern themselves or worry that it might cannibalize. Obviously, Lord of the Rings has a very big fan base on its own. I guess the other question I would ask is, you mentioned that they've got those other MMOs that they've done. Have those been going long enough that they could start pulling some of the devs from those teams to try and spearhead something like this and actually get involved, or are we going to see new blood involved in this MMO? Do you think they'd actually pull some of the folks that have done these previous projects, or do you think it's going to be a new team?
Hmm. I think it could be like I think it would be the period pulling up the previous projects. They could probably bring them on because since they have done a pretty good job with their MMOs from before, they could probably bring those guys into that. But yeah, I mean, I want to see more about it because since hey they're making and I'm happy there's actually now another Lord of the Ring games coming out, right? Which is pretty good because hey man, we if whoever plays Shadow of Mordor stuff like that and whoever loves that franchise, whoever loves that stuff, I'm happy that it's coming, back. I'm happy that it's something new, something refreshing, and like I said, we got to see how it comes out because that way we get, I would love to use what's his name Frodo. Sam Beggins. What is it? Sam Beg? Is it Sam?
Okay.
Is it?
Hold on. Hold on.
Hold on.
Let me settle in while you botch these names. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah,
What you
but
got?
we got Frodo, Sam Beggins. We got Grandolph. We got wait, what
Grandolph.
what's
Grandolph. That's already my favorite. Thank
what's
you
the
for that.
what's the guy's name? The elf's name?
Wait,
I forgot. And then
You have
this
you have
and
Samwise Gamgee. You have Bilbo Baggins. You have
Bobo
what?
Baggins.
Yeah, Bilbo. You have Frodo.
Okay, I got Frodo right at least. I
You
got
have
Frodo.
Gandalf, not Grandolph.
I thought it was Grandolph. Oh my god. Seriously? Oh Lord. Then you got Grimly. That's the little guy, right? Grimly is his name? Gramly? Grimly? The dwarf?
Oh boy.
That looks like Sourblow?
Oh, this is falling off
Okay.
quick.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All
Here
right.
you go.
Well,
That's what you get.
did you put him in a timeout?
Prison time.
Oh, that's right. He did say that he's a Lord of the Rings fan, huh? Oh, you've you've upset him.
What?
I think Clerks 2 did the best example of my feelings on those games. I don't know if you've ever seen the scene. It's fantastic. I'll have to send you the link. But essentially, the guy's basically just like, everyone walked in those movies. It didn't matter what it was. Everyone walked in those movies. Even the trees walked in those movies. And yes, to go to what Sour's saying is like, that is a journey of a movie, especially if you do those extended editions.
Oh my god.
My goodness,
I,
that is a long
yeah,
series.
yep. I remember if I watched the first one in the movie theater, I was going crazy. I think it was like 4 hour long movie. Man, I
Yes,
was like, damn, I'm tired.
yes. I
Yeah,
would need to grab a new pair of shoes if I walked as much as those guys do in those
yeah,
movies.
yeah.
But we're gonna move on real quick. So we're gonna bounce over to some Game Pass announcements actually that we had heard
Woohoo.
about. So
Right.
we've got some cool.
Before that, real quick, because people were asking for it, so we got to
Oh,
bring in real quick our star face. Oh, hold on.
wait, who? Oh,
Say hi to Plume.
Or-
I
is,
told him. I
is
told
he?
him he was gonna be in the show.
Uh,
Oh
Plume,
man.
Plume, I'm so glad that you could etch some time out of your busy day to come hang out with us. I think your connection's a little broken though, because it looks like you're frozen. Um, but I'm really happy that you were able to hang out with us nonetheless. Sir, thank you. Thank you for your time.
oh dear Lord.
All right. Well, moving on, we're going to touch base real quick. So obviously we've got some more news about some Game Pass additions that are going to be coming in this month. So we found out that for May 16th, we're going to end up getting FIFA 23 in Game Pass. May 18th, we're going to see Eastern Exorcist. Sounds like one that you should be streaming crazy.
What?
Along with Ghost Lore. Be curious as to if that one would be a good one for you too. And then May 23rd, we finally get to see. Oh, May 23rd or 25th. Sorry, you got two dates.
Okay.
But Planet of Lana, whether it's 23rd or 25th, we've got Planet of Lana coming. We have Cassette Beasts. We have Massive Chalice, which has been around for a while. That's a really good game. If you
Oh
haven't
no
played it,
no!
definitely
It's
try it.
May 23rd and May 25th is the rest. What happened? I forgot
Okay.
to.
Okay.
Eastern Exorcist. Let's
Okay,
look that
so
up.
23rd is Planet of Lana then, and then the 25th is Cassette Beast, Massive Chalice, and then Railway Empire 2. Um, God, I'm blown away at the support that is shown to those railway games. It must be a really good franchise. I haven't messed around with it yet. Either of you guys ever played the original that came out?
Not really.
No.
Which
Okay.
game? Which game?
Railway Empire,
Oh no, never played it. No.
the sim. I It must have done pretty well. I mean, now that we're seeing a sequel to it, but I didn't realize there was that much fanfare. But apparently, that one is getting a sequel, so we'll be seeing that as well. And then May 30th, we're going to be seeing Chicory, A Colorful Tale. That's quite a name. I like it. I'm excited to see if crazy if the Eastern Exorcist and Ghost Lore are going to be ones that will be good fits for your streams.
I'm watching it
Um,
right now. I'm watching it
yeah,
right now. And, it's like let me look at this game, but it's a 2D samurai type style game and it looks fun. It looks fun. It doesn't look scary. It looks fun.
is
Looks
that
fun.
Eastern Exorcist?
Yeah, it looks fun. It looks fun. It's
Okay,
a guy with a sword and it looks real fun. It looks like it's a game that you all can play. It looks pretty cool.
so not scary stuff. So I,
Nah, it's not
in that
scary.
case, I
No.
want you to stick to the scary games because the
Yeah.
couple clips that you showed us today had me smiling for sure. I had a lot of fun with that. I did
Mhm.
show a couple of my coworkers
Oh, you
because
what?
oh
You
yeah,
should, what?
dude. Dude, it's
It's
like I was telling you off the air. So we obviously, like a bunch of us guys, chat off the air when we're not doing this show. And I
Okay.
told Crazy, I was like, Crazy, your your monitor almost saw its end
you know
because
what
it. What's that?
I was gonna say. You know what's funny? When I was playing Visage, is
Mhm.
that the name, right? When I was playing Visage, he was giving me a lot of crap because the way I was playing it. He's like, "Oh, why are you playing like this? Why are you so slow? Why are you this?" Because you're investigating because that's how you play
Uh
those
huh.
Yeah,
type of games.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you should see him when he goes live and he stream. He's like scared to go everywhere, and I'm like,
It's
crazy, just go in.
it's
Just
hilarious.
yeah, just go in. Yes. Why don't you go in that game? I mean, look what okay. There's one scene if you guys watched yesterday's show, right? There's one scene where there's this girl. She's like twitching. She's like going insane. I'm like, oh no. I know. If I got close, I know she was gonna jump on me. Just did not know what precise moment she was gonna jump on me. So yes, I went forward. I was like, yeah, let me man up. Let me just get close and get it done with. And man, as soon as that girl got, just ran into me, you know what I did, right? I grabbed this thing, just started swinging to the fence. Like,
what is it? What is it? Anyways, I couldn't tell what it was.
that's the keyboard thing,
Oh,
Oh, okay, that's
the
the pad. I
the
gotcha.
pad, the
pad, yeah.
keyboard
Okay,
pad.
the
Yes, that's
anti-fatigue. I gotcha.
yeah. I
Yeah,
grabbed that because
I
that's the
couldn't
first
tell
thing.
what the heck it was, but you started coming at it like it was a machete. And I was like, dude, he is gonna flip that thing right out of his hands and he's gonna shatter that monitor. Like you were getting aggressive with that. Like
No,
you were
no, but yesterday's worst scare though because I don't know. I don't want to talk about it, but I'm not gonna say again that this happens though. But yes, please, Sarah, please take the bars off me. It looks real bad. But yes, it looks real
You're a
bad.
it
prisoner.
looks it looks amazing on
No,
you.
it does not. It looks real bad.
You're the
After
prisoner of
after
war.
last week, we can't be sure if you've actually been let out on parole. So it's
Oh, okay. But
just saying.
but either way, though, I got one of the worst scares because I even said it in yesterday's game. I said, okay, watch me go up the ladder, and we're gonna get a ladder scare. There's nothing scarier than a ladder scare. Like you're not like all climbing up nice and easy, and all of a sudden this thing pops out like scares you. Oh my god! But I actually was not expecting that on that part on the barn. Damn!
It
When
was
that thing
worth
came,
it.
oh man, when that thing came, literally that I would just jumped. I was about just to say right there, I'm done with the game. I was gonna say I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
It was so
Oh
worth
my
it
god.
to watch that.
Oh
I
my god.
thank you for sending the links to that, and to anyone that's in the chat, if you're curious about it, jump on, check out some of his footage. It's on the same channel. You can go in there and you can watch his little streams that he did, and it is fantastic. It's fun to watch those couple jump scares for sure.
Yeah. I got.
I didn't get to hang out with you while you were streaming, but I felt like I was right there with you as I was watching you basically fill your adult depends in
Oh
those
man.
moments. So,
Mm-hmm. That's how it
but
is. I need to figure out what am I gonna play next because man, it's getting shorter and shorter the list. But I need to sit down and figure it out because the thing is with these games, they're only like 2 hours long, and I feel sad that they ended like in 2 hours because I'm gonna tell you something. I love these games. These games, if a good jump scare, it's awesome. So what I might do is I might shift to Alien Isolation. That is a game, or probably
yes,
Outlast, one of those two,
okay,
because that's a longer game, and
yeah.
and it's gonna push me to beat the game because Alien Isolation I played it like a couple times, but I never sat down and say, okay, let me beat the game. But yeah,
Alien Isolation. I the thing.
yeah.
Did you ever beat that one?
No, but it's
Okay.
scary. It's scary. I mean, all of a sudden, like if you run or something, and oh man, it's scary. It's a scary game. You got
So
you got to.
the the thing I'll tell you, and I'll stay away from spoilers.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, it's been out for a while now,
yeah,
but I will stay away from spoilers. But I will say one of the things I saw in a bunch of reviews when that thing first came out, a bunch of people mentioned the fact that it felt like, because it's a long game. Just give you a warning, it's a pretty long game.
I know.
It's a good 16 to 20 hours. And it felt like about 10 hours into it, it kind of hit its like official conclusion.
Yeah,
But it's like Sega was like, yo, you need to make this longer so people feel like it's worth the $60. And so it feels like there's some unnecessary filler in some areas where it's like, okay, this game, just like Lord of the Rings, what
yeah,
was it, Return of the King, felt like
yeah.
it could have ended on the first ending instead of like the 27 that ended right after it, because there were like all these different points where you're like, oh, this is done now, and it just kept going. That's how Alien Isolation felt. um so I'll just give you that warning. I'm not going to spoil anything regarding it,
Oh,
but
I played it. I mean, I given it like like probably 3 or 4 hours. I know how it plays
okay.
because I mean
Yeah,
I even got a funny story with the Connect, but I would not mention that story.
that's good.
Okay,
Good.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, we heard
Yeah.
it. We
Um,
heard it.
Oh, you heard it. Okay, okay.
I
So let's continue.
but I would definitely encourage you either do that one or you should jump into Fear or Condemned. I'm sure if Dark's in the chat with us still, if
Yeah.
he's still with us after I botched Nintendo earlier, I think he would agree with me that Fear or Condemned would be ones that you should absolutely play on stream.
Uh,
Those would be a blast to watch you play as well because those were really good and had some really good scares to them too.
but for me, Condemn wasn't scary, but I played through it. It's cool, but it wasn't as scary. But yeah.
You're lying. Until I see you playing it on camera, I don't buy it.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see. All right.
Yeah, he played it like Quantum Break.
Yeah, exactly.
No, no,
Exactly.
I did beat it. I can show you my achievements. I think they're still on
Yeah.
there though.
It had
I
Iceman.
mean, I
I don't
mean,
know who he is. And Littlefinger. My favorite explanation of a game ever. It had Iceman and Littlefinger. I
oh
can't
god.
remember what happened in the game though. But speaking of games and games that I wish would be brought back, we actually did see something that maybe I'm not necessarily excited about, but I know a bunch of folks out there will be excited about, is Battlefield potentially coming back in a new way. So Andrew Wilson, the ever amazing robotic EA spokesperson, um, said in a recent call that they're looking at trying to get this thing up and going again. He's got extraordinary confidence in the future of the franchise. So it sounds like after some of the pitfalls that we've seen in the series over the last couple of years, that they are actually kind of trying to readdress, maybe go back to the drawing board and bring a better Battlefield out. I know a lot of folks out there will be super excited about that. Personally, I was always a Call of Duty guy, but I do want to know for both of you, and you can make it quick, it doesn't have to be a long thing, but are either of you interested in a new Battlefield? Does this get you excited, the potential of having that series kind of come back at this point?
I'll go
Sour.
first, real quick.
Yeah.
So I used to love Battlefield, and I think the last Battlefield, I was super hyped. Crazy is there, and he knows that I was
Oh
actually
yeah.
hyped. We jumped into it, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, it had lots of issues when it
Woo.
released. And I think the game had potential, and well, we saw the potential later on because later on it kind of picked up for a period of time. But I also think that some of these games they kind of have to evolve. We seen like ex Battlefield developers. They actually like to put an example. They formed a studio called Embark, which they're making two games right now. I'm super excited for both of their games, and they're both of their games, even though they have mechanics. And and you kind of see the game and you can tell like for example one of them is called the finals. When you see the gameplay, you can tell like, okay, this has some Battlefield, kind of like feel, but at the same time, they feel unique. They feel different. And then they're also making that other third person shooter, which is Arc Raider, which that one also
Hmm.
looks
Yeah,
amazing.
it looks amazing.
Hmm.
So that's that's what we're seeing a lot in the industry. A lot of these big studios, they just want to not take risks. They just want to continue the formula because it's working, because they want to make easy money, and sometimes they don't innovate and they get stuck, and that's when we end up, you know, at the situation that they are, where now they're forced to innovate,
Hmm.
and then you see that a lot of the people that were there probably left because of that. And we see a lot of other companies, you know, a lot of their heads or groups that are veterans, they leave, form their own studio. Why? Because they want to build their own ideas. They want to innovate. They want to do things differently. And I'm glad that, you know, they're starting to see that. Hopefully, they don't rush things. They take their time and they can come back with force. If Battlefield comes out like with a release day next year, then my hopes for it would not be very high. Now, if they take their time and they take a couple years at least, then you know I will have higher hopes for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point. The fact that obviously like there has been competition out there that has started to bounce into maybe some different territories that we didn't we didn't expect years and years ago, but obviously as other competitors have entered the arena, as it were. You look at something like PUBG, which came out, and then all of a sudden Call of Duty had to change their approach, and they're like, "Hey, here's our take on a battle royale." Since that's what's going to be a new thing. So you see something like that where like initially the Warzone stuff didn't really take off on, I think it was Call of Duty Black Ops 4, if I remember correctly, was their first attempt. But then once they bounced over to the Modern Warfare 1 and you saw that battle royale take that they had where they actually kind of put in some effort on that, that took over. And you see more concurrent players, it feels like, on that than you see even just the regular multiplayer for Call of Duty now. But you look at something like Call of Duty. Call of Duty, I feel like a few years ago, it felt like it was kind of on the ropes. We ran into issues where it was like, oh man, this is going downhill very fast. But it jumped onto those trends, right? It's just like what Fortnite did. When PUBG came out, Fortnite saw that, they made their own version of a battle royale, and Fortnite blew up. And suddenly was like the talk of the town again, and it became a big thing. Just like Call of Duty was starting to kind of go down the slope a little bit, but once it made its battle royale, it picked up a lot of players that had either lapsed or new players that were into battle royale and stuff like that. And I kind of wonder if maybe Battlefield will end up going the same route, if they'll end up maybe doing some of that stuff too. I feel like inevitably whenever we see these trends in games, right, you usually see a knock-on effect within the next 5 to 7 years. There's a bunch of people doing that same type of game type
Yeah.
to try and cash in on it. And I wonder if with this new Battlefield, if maybe we'll see a battle royale version in the Battlefield universe as well.
Uh,
Crazy. Sorry to cut you off. What was your take?
Real quick before
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
shout out to the Fifth Horseman. He actually, unfortunately, he brought some sad news, but it seems the Arc Raider game, they changed. I guess they've changed their play style from co-op game to an
Hmm.
extraction shooter because of trends. He said so.
Uh,
To them, so yeah,
Oh
I
man.
agree.
that's a bummer. Yeah, because that game, I kind of forgot about it until you mentioned it just now. But like when we saw that initially, that Arc Raiders game looked really cool.
Yeah,
So
it
Yeah,
did.
that's disappointing. Hopefully they can make it work out and they can still make it an enjoyable experience. But that's kind of a bummer to say the least, for sure. But crazy. What was your take on this? Are you excited in regards to like a Battlefield coming back? And I guess I'd pose the question: do you think you'll see a battle royale version of Battlefield coming with it?
Hmm. Battlefield gets an update. I'm gonna tell you something though. For me, of out of all the Battlefields, it was three. Battlefield 3, right? It
Hmm.
was one of the best ones I played in 360 era. I mean, I played the heck out of that game. I loved it to death. I mean, Everything about it was just awesome. The jet, the part of the jet in the story, man. Wow, that was the best thing. Especially the sound effects. It was freaking brilliant. That's the one I loved, and I stuck to it. And they just kept using, I think, the same thing over and over and over again. And it gets to a point when you use the same thing over and over again, people tend to get kind of tired. So I'm really happy to hear that they're actually going to innovate, change the stuff. I want to see what are they going to change. You know, are they going to make it more realistic, more I don't know, but it really does need it really does need a good change in that game because really Battlefield is a game that needs to innovate, especially since if the Activision Blizz deal closes, Call of Duty is going to be over there, Microsoft. Sony needs to find somewhere else, to go to some other game they need to promote. And if Battlefield becomes as popular as Call of Duty, that would be a good spot for Sony to say, hey, let me get you some they did with Call of Duty. Let me get some what's it called? Some I forgot.
The
First
advertising and all that stuff.
advertising, all that stuff. DLC for years, stuff like that. That would be pretty good. What's up?
Crazy. Can I ask you a question?
Go for it, buddy.
Because now that you mentioned Activision, Blizzard, and you mentioned EA,
Yeah.
what did you think about the comment that EA made? I don't know who made it exactly, but it came from EA, where they stated that whether this deal goes through or not, they will remain being Xbox number one publisher.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I forget who said that too. I'll have
I
to
was
see if I
We
like,
can
gotta
pull
look.
it up.
whoa,
We gotta
That
look.
was
Did
that
they
was a
actually say
gem.
that? Did they
It
actually
might
say
have
that?
it might have been Andrew Wilson if I remember correctly.
Remains.
Which, yeah, when that was said, I was like, wow, that's a big solid pair
yeah.
on EA to come out and be like, yeah, despite what happens with
Oh.
this, we're still head honcho.
Which for real quick for me personally, that made me so happy because like to be honest, I was concerned that once this deal goes through, that somehow the license or whatever the agreement they have for EA Play will vanish, pretty soon. But with that statement, that makes me think, well, we might have EA Play for the long run,
Hmm.
so that makes me happy.
I I think I think it's one of those things, right? Is like we have to try and avoid
It,
falling into the pitfall that a
yep.
bunch of the internet has fallen into over the last bit. And we've talked about this a handful of
Yeah.
times, but it's like everyone keeps focusing on Call of Duty. It's Call of
Yep.
Duty. It's Call of Duty. That's what the acquisition is. It's only Call of Duty.
No, it's not.
It's not Call of
No,
It's
it's
not
Duty.
Call
not
of
only
Duty.
Call
It's
of
It's
more.
Duty.
it's
It's more than that.
everything. It's
Everything.
mobile. It's all of the
Yep.
all of the legacy IPs and stuff. Like, yes, Call of Duty is a thing involved in this,
Man.
but there's so much more. Just like there's so much more to EA. There's Need for Speed, there's Fight Night, there's all these other things that they could bring in and they could bring back. And it's like, yeah, these one or two franchises that we've seen obviously take the spotlight for the last little bit, as it were, those aren't the only thing out there. And granted, those other things maybe aren't going to bring as much money, but it expands the portfolio, it diversifies the portfolio, and it makes them valuable to someone like Xbox, right? Microsoft sees that EA has a bunch of different IPs and quality things that they want in their ecosystem. And so I think, inevitably, no matter what happens with Actibliz, I'm sure EA is still going to be there because
Hmm.
they have a lot of things that maybe Activision doesn't offer or Sony or Microsoft doesn't offer. Sorry to cut off.
But
No, you're
well, like you were asking Sourblow about being the number one publisher. That's the news that since I've been moving, I did not catch it. Oh wow, damn, that's actually it was Andrew Wilson who said it. Andrew Wilson who said it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Electronic
I thought it
Arts
was the
CEO
robot.
Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson says the company is indifferent on whether or not the Activision merger goes through. Says EA number one publisher on is I mean says EA is number one publisher on Xbox. So wow, that's I guess Sony's out there alone then. Dang. Oh my god. Oh wow.
they're not alone. They have Square.
Oh, Lord.
They got
Sorry.
They got
Oh,
NFTs.
Ah, yes, NFTs. I
oh
want to
Lord.
buy all that boy band clothes that I can wear in my game. 'Cause I care. I care.
That's kind of funny. Dear Lord.
But so speaking of, NFTs and DLC and different character costumes and stuff like that, I do want to jump in real quick because we've gotten a little bit of smoke over the last couple days, last couple weeks, about different Mortal Kombat 12 or as we're finding out, Mortal Kombat 1 remake. Um, and this one's kind of an interesting one. So obviously we heard from Jez Corden, that said that Conan the Barbarian is another guest character in the Mortal Kombat game that's going to be coming out. So that could be an interesting one. But I think more exciting than that, I don't know if that does anything for you, but I think the thing that caught me off guard and the thing that blew my hair back, my fake hair, my proverbial um, was the fact that Ed Boon was out there on Twitter this over the last few days, and he was teasing that
Teasing.
in the next week we are going to be seeing the MK announcement. That gets me all sorts of excited.
Oh yes,
Oh
tomorrow,
well, speaking of that,
tomorrow.
we don't have notes on that, but you said next week.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I think
Okay,
it
tomorrow.
was this
yeah.
week.
It's
Oh,
tomorrow.
this week. Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say next week we just got a showcase that was announced, so I thought
Yep.
it was.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay. Okay,
I
nothing to do
think
with that then.
I think at this point, and maybe I'm way out in the weeds on this one, but it kind of feels like they're actually aligning more with Xbox than they are Sony.
Mm.
Based on given trends that we've seen over the years, way back into the 90s when the PS1 was out, I would imagine that Tekken would end up having more support on Sony. Microsoft will have support on Xbox. And that obviously wasn't from the 90s, but that was like later on. But Sony had always kind of had Tekken. Although,
It's Street
although
Fighter too, right?
Street Fighter kind of became their go-to. Tekken actually got a lot of support over the last decade or so on Xbox. So I would be curious as to see how this goes because Tekken has their new one coming, Mortal Kombat has their new one coming, and Street Fighter has one coming as well.
Yeah.
So this is rounding up to be a very interesting time
Yep.
for fighters.
Can someone
Personally,
please
I'm
bring
super excited.
back Killer Instinct, Bloody
Yes,
Roar,
yes.
School Rival? Come
You know
on,
what?
come
I'm
on.
going to
Let's.
go more old school than that. Let's go back and let's get Star Wars Masters of Terrascasi back here too.
Never play that.
Never
That
play
was
that either.
that was on the PS1 and it was great. It had all the characters and stuff in it. They had special moves and stuff. It was fun. I bet you again like usual if Dark is in the chat, I'm sure he played that game. He knows what I'm talking about. It was a fun game. It may not have done very well, but
You
it
know
was
what?
good.
You know what someone should do?
What's up?
Someone should do like a fighting game with like, for example, let's say the game is called All Star Fighters, right? And it comes to all three consoles, but every three console has their own like roster. So let's say Nintendo, you can pick Mario, you can pick all those guys, but you can only play those characters on that console. However, you can cross play and play against someone on PlayStation that has Kratos and
So
so on. That would be kind of cool. I don't know.
So something that I will interject with on that is that's actually been done.
Oh, it has?
Soul Calibur did it years ago, where you ended up having Darth Vader, if I remember correctly, on the PlayStation. You had Yoda on the Xbox 360, and I forget who it was on the Xbox, and I forget who the character was for Nintendo. My apologies. But they actually did that. It's
That's
like Soul
cool.
Calibur released that. Now,
Yeah.
granted, we were at a point where like cross play was not a thing. So that was kind of a bummer because that would have been awesome to have like
Yeah.
Yoda versus Darth Vader and stuff. But yes, that's actually been done before. I would argue, and I agree with you, and I think it would be really cool. Honestly, I want a modern day version of Celebrity Deathmatch
Oh
because
yes,
Oh man.
they actually did
I
bring out
missed
that
that.
game on
I
PS2
missed that
back in
game
the day.
too. That was a good game. That was a good game.
It was
Have,
terrible
do you guys
because
remember Let's
Yes,
Get Ready to Rumble
yes,
it's
yep,
on
okay.
N64? That was a fun
yep,
game.
yeah,
That was pretty fun.
It was a boxing game. Though it was a boxing game.
So
But I mean,
what's
yeah.
wrong with boxing though?
that's cool.
Boxing's great.
I know it's great.
Wait. Says the guy that talks so much about Punch Out.
Well,
That's a
Punch Out is
boxing. That's a
awesome.
boxing game too.
Punch Out is awesome though. So Punch Out is
But
awesome. I
but
mean,
it's a
man,
boxing game too. That's my
I
my
find it.
only point. It's a box.
I find it better than Ready to Rumble.
Anyway,
You know what?
it's whatever.
I changed my mind on this. I want to see you play more horror games, but honestly, I want to see you play through Punch Out, and I want to see you beat it.
Oh man, that's a
That's
hard.
what I want to watch.
That's not gonna work.
That's what I
I
want to
can
watch.
never. I have
That's a horror
never.
game on its
I
own.
have
That is a horror
never.
game.
I have never beaten one Punch Out. I tried, never beaten one. Seriously, I'm not joking. Never. I even have
That
Mike
should be a
Tyson's Punch Out.
session too. Like you
I have.
playing like very hard games.
I
Yeah,
have. Why do I want to see these?
Metal
because I
Slug,
want to see you
Metal
suffer.
Slug is easy. Come on.
Cro-
What?
Contra 3.
Contra
Crazy,
3?
crazy. It's the same reason as to why I want to watch you play horror games. I want to see you suffer.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
okay, you want to
It's
say
for
something?
science. It's for
Makes
science.
sense.
It's
Oh,
fine.
you gotta ask the chat if they want to see me suffer or they rather see me scared. I
Oh,
think they're
oh, I I guarantee you everyone wants to see you suffer and scared at the same time.
all I know, hmm,
As Gul'dan would say, fuel for the foul.
all
So
I know,
crazy suffering is fuel for for the plane.
If it bleeds, it leads, as it were.
I'm gonna say something
Um,
though. I'm gonna say something. With Jesse's rumor about Conan the Barbarian joining
yes,
Mortal Kombat. Oh
yeah.
man, I just want them to add one thing, and that is Crom. Grant me one revenge. Wait, grab me one thing, right? What is it? Grant me a request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you. I just want that part just to be added into the game.
Oh,
If they do get, and please get Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, not the one that was in the Mortal Kombat
see,
11. It sounded so
so
bad.
that is actually what I was just gonna say. So we had also heard that there was going to be potentially Peacemaker and Homelander in this as well. But the thing that I want, if this Conan rumor is true, is
Yes.
just like what Louis is saying. Please, please, Lord, let Arnold Schwarzenegger be willing to come hang out in the video game verse and do some voice work for this character,
And
because when we were listening to that character in the last Mortal Kombat, the whole time all I could think is like, oh man, even I could do a better Schwarzenegger than
yes.
this guy's doing.
Get to the top. Oh Lord, that was
Oh, it was
oh my,
bad.
it was bad. It was
It was
bad. Seriously,
cringy.
I felt bad.
Yeah.
And I have one more request. My last
Okay.
request for Mortal Kombat. Please, if you're gonna put a robotic type of guy, no RoboCop. Put T1000. T1000 would be a good Mortal Kombat character all the
Yes.
way.
Yes, but Peter Weller as RoboCop was great.
Yeah, I know, it was
And
great,
they
but
brought him back for the voicing, and it was awesome.
yeah, that was that. Yeah, the actual
But I
voice.
do agree you could bring Robert Patrick back as T1000, and that
Yes,
would be a fun time also.
that would be
However,
awesome.
he didn't really talk very much in the movie, so it
I
would be
know.
really weird if we had a chatty T1000 all of a sudden.
No,
Um,
just
eh,
with the look says everything. Remember, just that finger when he says no. Oh,
yes,
that's just
yeah.
awesome. Oh,
But in that situation, you don't need to pay Robert Patrick to come back.
uh,
If he's just going to do finger wagging, you don't need Robert
Yeah.
Patrick for
oh
that.
yeah.
Um, but we are going to move on because I feel like I'm encroaching into the main topic again, like I seem to do every week recently, because we've had a bunch of small topics. I feel like it keeps merging into the large ones.
Mm.
But I just want to touch on real fast. Ubisoft. We found out that they plan to release before the end of fiscal year AC Mirage, Mirage. Sorry, I don't know what just happened. I had a stroke. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, Rainbow Six Mobile, Skull and Bones. Yeah, right. The Crew Motorfest, The Division Resurgence, X Defiant, and another large game, potentially Star Wars. I feel like at this point, obviously, it's not going to be Beyond Good and Evil 2, because I think anyone who thought that that game was actually going to release is sadly mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But, gentlemen, I think we have a couple questions here, real quick, and I'm going to pose them split off to you guys.
All right.
Sourblow, you're a big fan of Sea of Thieves. Do you do you think there's any world in which Skull and Bones is actually going to release ever in general? And do you think it'll be good?
Well, if it's going to release within the time frame, within the year of fiscal year, then I don't think it would not be great. From what last saw from that game did not look fun. That game looked like it needed a lot of work in order to get it to a point where like you can consider it, a nice playable game that you can actually have fun. Um, I think sure it looks, the graphics it's more you can say realistic or grounded than Sea of Thieves. So some people that kind of wanted to jump into Sea of Thieves but wasn't into the artwork were kind of like interested into it, but seeing the gameplay, what makes Sea of Thieves so great is actually the way you play, like all the things you can do, the fun you can have in it. Now, sure, the artwork might turn some of the people off, and it's understandable, So some people just don't like that kind of artwork. But if you were gonna make a game to kind of like at least compete with Sea of Thief, I understand that we kind of we kind of said already earlier that you should innovate, but if you're gonna innovate, like you should at least make it fun, and that
Yes.
does not look fun.
Yeah. Visuals aren't everything in
Yep.
the scenario, right? Um, I, I, man, I, I agree with you 100%. Like, if this thing is going to release before end of fiscal year, there's no way this thing's going to be fun. We've
Yep.
seen plenty of leaks. We've heard plenty of things from what
Mm-hmm.
we've seen so far or heard so far
Mm-hmm.
from people in the experience. This is not that at this point in time. This needs, just like Redfall, this needs more time in the oven to bake. This is not ready. It's still raw. It needs more time to be content complete. And I would argue the same thing, right? Is like
Um,
that honestly, I feel like based on what we have heard so far, this could come out in worse condition than Redfall. And
uh,
Redfall, honestly, at least Redfall was playable. I don't know if
I,
this is going to be
I mean,
playable,
I saw
but
I saw gameplay, guys, and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. It's bad. It's
fair.
really, really, really bad. And I'll say this again. In order for that game for people to adapt and to like it, I said it before, and I'll say it again. They should add a remastered or a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag to add it with that game, so that when people jump into
See,
it,
That's
wait,
not
wait,
gonna
wait,
that's not gonna
I
help
that's
know,
that
I know,
game.
that's not.
wait, wait,
Yeah,
let me
Yeah.
finish. Let me finish. So that way, when you jump into that game, you get why it plays like that and it moves like that and it works like that. But trust me, the game is bad. I mean, you get to an island, you can't even swim, you can't even jump in the water. That's one. Two, you get to an island and all you can explore is what's available in the island. I mean, you can't say, "Oh, let me go climb up that rock." You can't do nothing. It's just one small area you gotta cover. And in order to build a ship, you gotta go get a guy's spoon. You gotta go get a guy's fork. You gotta take then after that, take the guy's spoon to that island. After you take the spoon to that guy, he's gonna give you a fork to take to this guy to the island so he can eat his damn fish. And then if he doesn't find the fish, you gotta go fishing the fish. And then if you fishing the fish, you're giving the fish to this guy, and this guy's gonna give you a stick to take to the other guy to make fire. That's all the missions you're gonna get. I'm telling you, it's a bad, bad game.
I
Seriously, leave it.
felt like I almost fell asleep you just
Exactly,
explaining that.
exactly.
Um,
Exactly. That's what I saw, and it's really bad. So it's hard.
to to touch base on what Sour was saying, because I know we've had this conversation before, and I agree with him fully. This will never get added to an AC game. Now, does it make a lot of sense business wise and financially to attach it to an AC game? Yes,
Yes.
because it will get way more attention.
Yep.
But I would argue, especially given what we've seen, what we've heard so far, this game does not give you any example of, like, if you tied this to Black Flag, this game does not play the same way as Black Flag. So
No.
it's a really weird thing to try and attach it to something that's already an existing AC
It will to
game.
me it will personally it will only hurt the franchise.
Yeah. I
Assassin's
would
Creed.
maintain, like, if you release this tied to an Assassin's Creed, yes, you will get maybe a higher user base,
Yeah.
but it'll be the same thing as when Resident Evil was doing that online experience. Is like you will attach it to this game, they will play that game, and they will try the online experience, be like, no, this is garbage, and they will not play any more of it.
Yes.
But I would also argue that a standalone release is a terrible idea. I think we had talked about previously, like my opinion and Dark's, a few folks' opinions on this when we were talking Redfall. I think even Luke Lore was talking about the fact that it feels like Redfall was very much a game preview game based on where we were at as far as content completion, stuff like that. I feel like this would be a ideal situation to put in as a game preview scenario. Put this in as game preview. Charge me $30 as a game preview. Don't charge me $70 for this. I'm not going to be your beta tester for a game that feels like it's half baked. But that's my personal opinion. But crazy, I did have a question for you. In
Yes.
regards to the other large game that we've heard rumor about possibly being shown also, do you think it's going to be the Star Wars game that we've heard Ubisoft is making? Or do you think maybe, and this is me being selfish,
Mm.
we'll actually see a Rainbow Six that's good
Oh, I hope so.
being released on console, or Splinter Cell? Because you got to
Uh,
keep in mind, we
yeah,
know that
but
Splinter Cell
Splinter
is
Cell.
being made.
It could be Splinter Cell. I'm all the way with Splinter Cell because Splinter Cell we actually got a teaser and we have not heard anything else about Splinter Cell for a long time. So yeah, it could be Splinter Cell. I'm down with you right there. I'm all the way with you right there, and I want Splinter Cell. I want Splinter Cell. We need a game like that back, please.
Easy and clean cut. Sour, I leave it to you, sir. Sorry for monopolizing the time. Let's jump into some of this salty topic that we got going on.
Oh
Oh, you're
yes.
good. You're good. You're good. Let's stop to the main topic. All right. Well, we got more CMA. Well, more ABK news. So we got the European Commission has approved the ABK deal. The EU officials said that they would allow the deal. Uh, they would allow the deal after Microsoft made concessions to ensure that the rivals company will have continued access to the games developed by Activision. So EU mergers control commission clear Activision. Uh, wait, clear acquisition of Activision ABK by Microsoft, subjects to certain conditions, which I actually have the chart here. Which is, I thought this was hilarious that they actually made a chart and
It's
they,
an amazing
they
chart.
actually posted this in Twitter.
I like the arrow that says no harm to distribution of console games.
Oh, this
That's
was
amazing.
hilarious. So anyway, that when this happened, I was actually at work, and
Oh,
I started seeing the
oh,
all the what was that?
Sour, you accidentally posted the Game Pass pictures. You didn't you didn't do the
Wait, really?
Activision one. Yeah.
I
Oh, there it is. There it is.
okay, okay,
Okay,
okay,
sorry, it must have shifted. My bad.
okay. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what I'm seeing here. Okay. So anyway, I was at work when this happened, and I was just seeing, all the tweets and all the commotions, all the videos, all the podcasts, etc. And of course, I saw this and I was just laughing. But at the end of the day, the EU had the same increase that the CMA had. Simply that they at least they did their homework and they actually you know made the deal. Well, approved the deal by making concessions, which was what I thought the CMA would also do. And if you think about it, these this is not like any like you know this is not like any type of concessions. Like these remedies are actually great for us, the users, and it's also great for competition. If we think about it, I don't know if you guys see it the same way, but I'm gonna start with Lou. Lou, what was your initial like reaction when, well, first when you received the news? Well, you actually even been in a podcast and you talked a little bit about it, but what was your initial reaction to this, and what did you think about the remedies um, that Microsoft had to offer in order to get the deal done in the EU?
Um, the remedies, right? What they offered. They had to because I'm gonna be honest with you. The way they've been doing this and to get this deal to get done, in order to get it through, in order to get everybody on their side, they've been actually saying, hey, we're gonna make this available everywhere. We're gonna make this simple. We're not gonna be hard on everybody. Um, we just want for this to go through because we want mobile, we want to make cloud gaming better, and of course, and what they said, we're going to give everybody access to this game. And not only that, not only access to this game with other companies, they also told them that we're going to give them first party Xbox games, which is not bad, and it's a good offer. So here's the thing though, EU saw this, and I'm actually really happy that they sat down, read through this, and did not come out with some weird, odd, conclusion that the CMA came out with. They said something that we were like, what do they mean? Especially something that's okay. We know it's there, and it's little by little growing. We understand, but you know why why are you trying like to stop this, because of this, that we don't know how it's gonna come, how it's gonna happen, and I remember on Monday, we were Hargreave was over there and he brought up a good subject, right? I mean, cloud gaming is something that it's right now still in a really early stage, and it's true. And cell phones, as of now, I mean, the other day I saw that an iPhone had a one TB card, in a terabyte, is it TB, 1 TB, right? 1 terabyte card in it, right? So if you got 1 terabyte of storage and you got Game Pass on your cell phone, you can just download the game and play on your cell phone. You know, so
Crazy.
really, with all the stuff going on and how Microsoft has put things out in the clear, they've done such an awesome job, right? They did. It's pretty awesome that they're giving it to everybody, and everybody who wants it, they say, here's a contract, sign it. You got 10 deals with it. So yes, they have done a really good job with it.
Crazy. Real quick.
What's up?
That's that Hargy take. Actually, I was there. I was, well, I wasn't there, but I was listening to you
Yeah.
guys, and I have lots of respect for Hargy, and I get his point, but I would say on that point, on the mobile side, I actually kind of disagree on that part because basically what he stated is that cloud is going to be irrelevant because of the way technology is advancing, and that you have phones that are very capable, and probably 10 years from now you will
Yeah.
have like a 4090 inside your phone.
Hmm.
But I think you also got to take into account that, one, as he stated, technology is going to keep advancing,
Yep.
but it's not only going to be advancing on his phone. Also, the PC market is going to be advancing, and they're going to have more capable. So by the time your phone can run a 4090, you know, your PC is going to have a much beefier,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, component, because at the end of the day, you have more space, you can fit more stuff there, and as long as there's demand, they're going to continue to innovate. The other thing is that you got to take into account that cloud is like you can reach more people as long as of course, they're
Yeah.
waiting for that infrastructure to evolve. 5G is starting to spread everywhere,
Hmm.
and like you stated, like in the Dominican Republic, for example, right now, you guys don't have cloud.
We
You don't
don't.
have that benefit. But if cloud was there, how many people would actually use it? Because like not everyone there is capable of buying a high end phone
Yep.
to actually play these games. So even if even if there were a phone capable of downloading these games and running them natively, if you have a cheaper version, a cloud, you can get to more places, more people. So in that regards, I kind of disagree with him. I get where he was going, but I
Yeah.
don't actually agree with that.
Because that was the next thing I was going to jump on what you're saying. Because I mean, okay, we got cell phones coming out with 1 terabyte and stuff like that. But either way, though, if you like, for example, don't have the money to buy a 1 TB cell phone or a high end cell phone, you're gonna get a cheaper one with cloud. You actually can have that access, and you actually can sit down and play those games and enjoy them via cloud. But the thing is, either way, though, like I said, and I actually said it. I think I said it on Monday. I'm gonna repeat what I said. In order for me to use cloud, I had to use the VPN, right? So once I turn on the cloud, it works perfectly fine on the VPN. But once it's on, it's slow. It's got a
Yeah,
little
yeah. I mean,
lag. I mean, it's got a long, long, long way to go. And like I said, how they pitched and they gave everybody access to this game, because that was basically what everybody was worried about. Everybody was mostly focused on Call of Duty, on what's gonna happen, Activision Blizzard, what's going on. It was like the end of the world. Like, oh no, we're gonna sink, we're gonna die, everything's gonna go into crumbles and shambles and all that stuff. No, that's not true. I mean, what you gotta do is you gotta sit down and you gotta see what you have. Because I'm gonna tell you something, and this is true. People tend to forget when Call of Duty actually came out. And when did Call of Duty actually came Call of Duty? And that was in this 360 PlayStation 3 era. That's when Call of Duty got that big boom, got the online, and people started to love it, right? I'm not lying to you. That's how it started, because before it was all Halo. And that was true because Halo, with the old OG Xbox, right? You had Halo on there, people were loving it. And then when Call of Duty came out and it was Modern Warfare on 360, that everything changed right there. That was a change. But before that, though, you have PlayStation. You have PlayStation 2 with such great games. And when we talked about this many of times, PlayStation needs to bring back a new SOCON game. I mean, I if SOCON comes back, I know Silent Zephyr might also go ahead and buy a PlayStation if they make a good SOCON game that we can actually enjoy. Am I right, Silent? You would go out buy a PlayStation?
Yeah, as soon as they do a remodel, so I don't have an Eye of Sauron sitting in my entertainment center, I will buy a PS5. Until they adjust and minimize that atrocity of a system, I'm not buying it. But yes, if they released a SOCOM, I would be on board. But
Ah,
it's contingent on having a system that I feel like I could stare at on a regular basis when I'm playing.
I get you what you mean, because it's big, but like,
Things
again,
ugly.
it's a. But
Sorry,
again,
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. We got our opinions. I mean, for me, it looks like a beautiful alien world. That's how I see it. But anyways,
looks
like,
looks like a feminine hygiene product, but whatever.
oh Lord.
oh,
But either way,
that
though,
went
that went
Oops.
south.
south. That went
Oops.
real south. Yes, it did. But anyway, but either way, though.
Anyway,
Anyways, yeah. Like I
What
was
about that
saying,
PS2 Slim?
yes, we need
Let's
we
get to that form factor. That'd
yeah,
be
but
great.
like I was saying, though, we need those games to come back in order for these guys to jump on and compete. But yes, I'm really happy that the EU Commission actually sat down, listened, and agree with everything instead of going out there just blocking. Because hey, of this thing, of the cloud thing. I mean, seriously, I sat down and I read through what the CMA had decided, and just by the EU just saying let's go, there's no um what's it called? It's not going to compete. It's not going to do any damage. It's not going to harm competition. Like how everybody is saying. I'm really happy they actually chose that side and actually gave a real reason, and not only that, They all with concessions and everything. It was all well organized, and I'm happy that Microsoft also agreed with that instead of putting a stop to it. And everything's just gonna go fine after that. With the EU. Now we got to see what's gonna happen with the CMA because man, the CMA is getting really heavy pummeled these days, especially after the EU said yes. I
Hey,
mean, they're the one
hey,
counting
hey,
for
hey,
that.
hey, 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 hold on. We're going
I
there.
I know we're going there. I'm just mentioning it real quick. But yeah,
I'm gonna tell you something crazy,
what's up?
and this is the true. This is the true.
What?
I'm just I'm just messing with you. You always do that. Like when you're gonna say something, you're
Oh,
like, "I'm gonna tell you something," and this is the true.
Sourblow, Sourblow. I'm gonna
stop
tell you
blow,
something.
stop
I'm gonna
blow.
tell you something right now.
Oh man, but yes, crazy already kind of mentioned it. So after the deal was done, uh, we basically, well, after the EU approved the deal, the deal is not done. The deal
Yeah.
is long from being done. But anyway, we saw the CMA immediately. They retaliated. They made their own tweet, basically explaining their self why they made that decision and so forth. But today, was it today? I think it was today that we saw the UK, the
Parliament.
government actually
That
question. Or
that
was
was yesterday.
yesterday?
Yeah, it was
Okay,
yesterday. That
yesterday.
was
Sorry,
yesterday.
I'm
Yeah.
lost. Okay, well, yesterday, and we saw them make them some questions, and a lot of these questions to me were basically in refer to like one, like why why they're making that decision, which it seems to be harming the country as a whole, like to make in technology, like it's basically like not helping at all. And the other thing was that I thought it was pretty curious, and we even saw, I think there's a document going around which kind of now show proof that this did actually happen, which the FTC seems to have, kind of gotten into a few meetings with them, or at least one meeting with them, and talked over about this whole Activision deal. So I'm gonna go with you, Simon. First, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I haven't been able to keep 100% track of everything because I've been on work when all this is happening, but I have been able to catch some of the podcasts and listen to some of the people, and catch some of the information. But wh- where do you think this is all going? Because my question is like, what happens if this is proven to be, to be truthful, that they were kind of like collaborating together in order to try to block this deal? Like, what can be done? What's going to happen? Are there any consequences to both party, both the CMA, the FTC? Well, what's your take on all that, Simon?
Dude, I'll tell you right now. What a sticky pot of honey for them to dip their hands in and pretend like they're spotless and nothing's going on, right? So in regards to what you're talking about, obviously we ended up seeing the post on justice.gov. So, according to that website, the Department of Justice, we ended up finding out that on March 27th, 2023, the Justice Department's Antitrust Division and the Federal Trade Commission co hosted a Spring Enforcer Summit by the U.S. Department of Justice, located at 950 Pennsylvania Ave, blah, blah, blah. Assistant Attorney General Jonathan Cantor and FTC Chair Lena Khan, strange name, to find involved in this, as well as a senior staff from both agencies, facilitated discussions on modernizing merger guidelines and interagency collaboration. The panel discussions, and this is the part that put a grin on my face. The panel discussions were live streamed for the public. In-person attendance was by invitation only. Interesting, the
Hmm.
idea. But according to what we heard, They did not talk about anything regarding this situation that we're seeing right now unfold in regards to the Activision acquisition, CMA, all this stuff that's going on. It's interesting that we have a lot of proof that kind of points towards this happened, and they're like, no, no, we didn't talk about anything at all regarding this situation. It was just random happenstance that we happened to have come into contact with each other right before this occurrence happened, and it got blocked. It's interesting with everything that's going on right now. Obviously, with the stuff we've seen in the last 2 days, it's been it's been a landmine situation on Twitter. I'll tell you that for sure, because I feel like I've seen a bunch of people on both extremes trying to defend one way or another. And it's one of those things where it's like, you've got a bunch of people. I'll give, it's like I understand that people are seeing the situation, seeing how things are going, and thinking that it's going to go one way inevitably. I think the thing, kind of like what we were talking about earlier today, is like we know that the European Commission has approved this deal, right? So that was a big milestone for these. But there are a lot of people that are still very much either on the fence or very much cemented in place that this has no chance whatsoever. And or it's 100% and it's just going to go through. And I think based on everything that myself, everyone in the chat, everyone on social media, everyone on the internet has seen, is that it is not a good situation right now to put all of your money behind a certain decision and say, this is for sure going to happen. Like, whether you think it's going to actually succeed, whether you think it's going to fail, that's cool. But we've seen time and time again when we thought that it was going to get approved or we saw it was going to get denied or whatever, and it got swapped.
Yep.
We were caught off guard. And so I've told you guys a bunch of times, it's like, until the ink is dry on the paper and we see this thing completed, don't hedge your bets one way or another. Like, ideally for me as a Microsoft consumer, as an Xbox consumer, yes, I want to see this stuff show up on Game Pass. That'd be fantastic for me. So yeah, I want to see the deal go through. But I have no delusions that this thing is a sure thing, especially with everything we've seen over the last little bit. As soon as you think it's going to go one way or another, it goes the opposite way. And so I feel like there's a lot of people that are kind of hedging their bets already when this thing is not done. And based on the last couple days, right, we saw that they approved the deal. And then we saw the CMA come out and be like, no, that's great, but we don't care.
We don't care.
So all of a sudden it went from like, oh, it's a sure thing to, oh, this is dead in the water, to then we saw all the stuff that started releasing today, which today has been a real garbage fire on Twitter. And it feels like it's going back in the way of Microsoft's favor. So it's like, with how much constant back and forth we have on this, you can't say one way or another for sure that this is going to get passed or it's going to get denied. Ideally, for consumers, it feels like it would be a good thing if it does get passed. But I don't think any of us can say for sure. We can only speculate at this point.
Can I jump in real quick on this?
Go for it.
That's cool, Sour. Can I jump in, or you got something to say?
No, you can't. You can't jump.
All right. Let me just mention a couple things. Here's something that's been going on. After Monday went through, and not only that, after CMA said no, nobody around the world was actually happy with this. I mean, you got analysts talking about it. I mean, seriously, you even got my dog Fluffy out there talking about it. Everybody was talking about how the CMA said no. Why? Everybody's saying why you guys said no. Seriously. And after the EU approved, which they actually was, I think they were actually counting on the EU saying no, you know? I think they were
Yeah.
counting on that. They were counting on the EU saying no. But what they did not, but what they did not seem to see, and did not seem to open their. Wait, who is that
Sorry,
running?
sorry guys, that's my son.
I thought I
my,
was
my
man.
wife just my
He
wife
wanted to
just
chime
texted.
in on it too.
Yeah, my wife
Uh,
just texted me. She's like, he doesn't want to stop jumping.
oh,
So
I thought it was.
sorry about that,
I thought I
guys.
was hearing things like I was hearing in the game. I was about to run. I was like, wait, am I hearing like in the game
Crazy's
different?
playing a live stream again. He's having
I was like,
PTSD.
what's going on? I was about to run. But anyways, before I continue, okay, let's continue with this. But yes, nobody approved this deal. Nobody was happy with this. And then after EU said yes to the deal, it said, all right, yes to the deal, let's go for it. The CMA comes out like, and let me put on my sword and let me go fight this war and say we're not going to change the way we think. But hey, there's something that a friend of mine said. His name is Monestina, so I'm going to give him props to Monestina. And what he said was organizations, independent. I mean, we know these organizations are independent, right? These organizations are independent, but when there's conflict of interest, you know what happens, right? The UN jumps in. You know how that is, right? So same thing with this. There's a conflict of interest. Of course, the government's going to jump in, especially since you got 37 countries who have approved this deal, right? We know the FTC literally right away just sued because hey, we're just gonna sue. Like we're just gonna go out there and say screw you, we'll sue. We still don't know. Like I'm still like scratching my head saying why are you guys suing? But okay, cool, go ahead. Yeah, and then you got the CMA just say we block. That's it, and we're gonna stick to this block because the cloud gaming is something that we, like I was saying earlier, we have not seen. And not only that, right? We have right as of right now, Post Up just put it something. So, Sarah, can I read this real fast, and so we can go through it right away? It says update to MS/ABK. Shout out to Post Up for putting this up. Take Two boss, supportive of Microsoft Activision deal. What's good for them is good for the industry. CEO Strauss Zelnick calls cloud gaming simply a distribution method in reaction to CMA ruling. When asked for his thoughts on the deal, CEO Strauss Zelnick expressed that Take Two has supported the deal for some time, saying that it would be a positive for the company's partner, Microsoft. What's good for them is also good for the industry. When the CMA's recent ruling against the deal on the basis that it could cause potential Microsoft takeover of the cloud gaming market, Selnet reiterated past comments he had made about the technology, saying that cloud gaming is a distribution method, not a separate business, was brought up. And while new distribution methods such as cloud gaming might expand the gaming market, it is still fundamentally a part of the larger gaming market. And he said also this: I think it's important never to confuse the distribution technology with the business model. Selnick said, I would love to believe that streaming our titles would massively expand the marketplace. I'm not sure there's any reason to believe that. So, seriously, like I said, everybody is against what the CMA has done. And I'm happy in a way that they're actually pushing this, because again, you got 37 countries agreeing, and just this one just saying no, the other one's just suing because, hey, okay, we can sue. Okay, cool. You guys are, yeah, Lena Khan, you're awesome, yeah, we love you. But again, I'm glad everybody's pushing and everybody's working to get this out because hey, I'm gonna say something. I want cloud gaming in my country and I want cloud gaming to be better. I don't know about you guys, but I want it to be like that.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
No. Sorry, I'm gonna jump in real quick. Sorry.
Okay, go
No,
for
you're
it.
good. You're good.
I going back to what you were talking about and kind of sidelining what Crazy was saying too, right? Is like you guys were mentioning. Obviously, we've heard some of this from some folks. There's been a lot of talk about how it's like, you know, I they came out and they pushed it so much as a big thing, and it was misled that cloud is such a big thing. And even Strauss Zelnick in this comment right here, he specifies the fact that like it's an extension to the primary experience. So it's like, yes, it's there, but it's not that big. It's not that substantial at this point in time. I think the thing that blows me away with this, and Hargeet, shout out to Hargeet and Gaz and those guys when they were talking about it too, is like, you know, when you look at this whole situation, like, yes, it's there. And I don't know if I fully agree with Hargeet in the fact that he had mentioned the fact that he thought that this was just going to be kind of a fad. I think cloud is going to get bigger. I think it is going to expand, and it's not going to be just a fad. But I think at this point, right, based on what we're seeing and what we're seeing as the opposition by CMA and stuff, is it's not to that point where it's competing and pulling people away from physical media or a physical console with digital media or whatever, right? Like having a plastic box in your house is still the primary way to play if you want the best visuals, the best experience. We're not to a point yet where the technology is good enough yet, as far as our streaming and stuff like that, where it's a perfectly flawless system. Which I think, it's like I agree with him on that for sure. But I also think that, like, that's a thing to keep in mind with this is like CMA is blowing it out of the water. Like, this is a already developed thing. This is a thing that is a massive market. It's not that. It's not that at any
Yeah.
point. Like, it is an extension to what we do now. When I'm at work and I've got a few minutes on lunch break or something and I want to hang out and chill, I can jump on and I can play As Dusk Falls or whatever on Game Pass through streaming. When I come home, though, I'm not jumping onto my phone and playing it. I'm playing it on my box. And that's generally most people's situation, is it's an extension to the experience. It's not the main experience. So CMA throwing a big fit about the fact that like they're taking over and monopolizing that industry. Cloud isn't there yet. And the thing that frustrates me is like they want it to be an open and equal competition scenario, right? Let them compete. It's
Yeah.
just like what Satya Nadella was saying, right? Is like,
Hmm.
if you want competition, let us compete. They're not a big player in this situation. Yes, they have Azure. That's great. But they are not a massive player in the streaming cloud service yet. Just like Google wasn't, just like Amazon isn't. It's a very small market at this point in time. But what the CMA feels like, it feels like what they're saying is that someone can't come in there and actually like flex innovation because God forbid that means that they're going to end up being the market leader. How do you expect cloud streaming and stuff to innovate and start becoming a thing? Just like when we see consoles, right? We have competition and people go back and forth and fight against each other. If you don't have someone that comes in and innovates in that market, how is that space ever going to evolve? How is it going to upgrade? How are we going to benefit as consumers?
Yep.
So that's what frustrates me is like they're going off of these numbers. It feels like it's basically just handed to them on a piece of paper by Jim Ryan. And it's so frustrating because they're not going off of the actual facts of the situation at hand.
Because here's something I want to say real quick before I know Sourblow's been sitting there patiently. Sorry again, but I gotta say what I
Sorry,
gotta
Sour.
say. Sorry, Sour. Today's show is gonna be Sorry Sour. Sorry Sour. But yes, I want to say something real quick. And my first question is, guys, how did they come up with those numbers if it's not happening? How can you get an estimate? I mean, seriously, how can you sit down and estimate what would Microsoft do if they actually get Activision Blizz, and how much of the market share they're going to take away, and how much? I mean, how can you calculate those numbers? Seriously, how can you do that? Can you
Because
guys explain? Can you guys
Silent
just?
gave you the answer. What do you mean?
What I think is the CMA is run by a bunch of mad, angry Louis. That's what I think that's happening. Seriously, I think they're just run by a bunch of angry Louis.
Well,
Just
that would explain a lot, but
that
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 would
would explain.
explain a
yeah,
lot.
Yes, that would
Yeah.
explain a lot. Seriously, a bunch of angry Louis. I mean, how can you come up with that number? I mean, seriously,
but
for God's sakes.
but anyway, to end it, to end it real quick, I just want to shout out the chat real quick. They have been mentioning, about the CMA. Shout out to Sanchez and the Fifth Horseman, which, if I put together, we don't have time to read all the comments, but basically, it seems the CMA either intentionally or unintentionally, maybe they're just they haven't investigated enough, they're ignorant in the topic, but they kind of treat Xbox Game Pass as if it was like something like Stadia. Like they believe like it's if you got Xbox Game Pass, it's because you're playing in the cloud, and that's the only way to play it. That's kind
Yeah.
of where we
And
kind of,
that's
and
and
that's
that's
not
not at all the case at this
that's not even
point.
close to
Yeah,
point. Like you said, Silent, it's kind of an
an
extension
extension.
to,
Yeah.
to what we have. But anyway, I think we have to land the plane. So crazy, I will pass it to you.
All right. Again, sorry. You did not go and say anything today's show. Sorry about that, brother. But man, we just had so much stuff in our
Oh,
just to let
you're
go.
good. You're good.
All right, okay. Thanks, man. But yes, it's been one crazy week. It's been one fun week. I mean, super happy that the EU, like I said, chose sides. Super happy that hey, we're getting actually a good thing for Mortal Kombat tomorrow morning, 9 p.m. No, 9 a.m. ET. Was it 9 a.m. ET? 9 a.m. ET. Yes, we are going to see, Mortal Kombat, and yeah, we're getting a PlayStation Showcase pretty soon too. That's pretty awesome stuff. But man, it was an awesome week, awesome, and a hell of an episode today. We got a lot of things through, and we had to let it out because really, wow, this subject just got spicier, it got better, and we're super happy about it. So let us start right away with Sourblow. Please tell everybody where they can find you, and please, and please, and please, and please, buy your kid a horse next time so he can gallop.
Oh man, you probably could hear him right now. He has
Yes.
so much energy. It's amazing. But anyway, of course you can find me here, Twitter, Sourblow18, same in Xbox. Make sure, especially if you know Spanish, go check out Eternal Shaddai. He's on Xbox International en Español every Friday with ASCAP Gaming. So check them out, subscribe. If you know Spanish, check the content. If you got a friend that knows Spanish, send them over there. If you don't know Spanish, well, you can still help us out there. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, share our content. We are continuing, to grow, to expand, and to do, as you can see, we always trying to evolve and bring different ideas. So with your support, we can continue to do things like this. So we truly appreciate it.
All right. And last but not least, our awesome captain. Please tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Well, real quick, I did want to say, yeah, it sure has been one heck of a spicy week, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop moving for the next few weeks, right? We've got a lot of things that are coming. I'm super excited to see all of the conversations that are going to be on social media. It's going to be an interesting time. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on between the events, between just the general discourse that's been going on. But in regards as to where you can find me, obviously you can find me on Twitter, Xbox, Instagram, Twitch, all over the place as Silent Cypher. More dominantly found on Twitter or actually TikTok. I did post one on there this last week. Thank you for anyone who jumped on there. I don't know if everyone in here in the chat saw it, but I did run into some shenanigans when I was playing some Saints Row. One of the things I forgot to mention I was playing, but I proceeded to break the game a little bit. I found some anti-clipping issues on one of the buildings. My character proceeded to just fall for like a solid 30 seconds to a minute. And I saw the entire world right above me. It was quite an experience. But you can find more of those shenanigans on TikTok. I'll post them on Twitter as well as we move forward. And if I'm online, if you see me on Xbox, feel free to hit me up. Sometimes it's my son, sometimes it's me. But if you want to play some games and I've got some free time, I'm more than happy to jump on and play. I feel bad because RSJ, Phasma, some of these folks in the chat, I still owe them some Call of Duty time. So if we can try and get a team together and we can play some Warzone or something, I am all for it. Hopefully this weekend I'll be around. So yeah, I look forward to gaming with you guys, and I look forward to talking about everything coming up.
Oh man, if
Sh-
you're gonna, oh, what you gonna say?
Oh, real quick. As Sanchez mentioned, shout out to Plume Network. He wasn't here today, but go
Yeah,
check out his channel, the Big Plume. And wait,
He was here today.
he's the
What are you
Big
talking
Plume. The
about?
channel is the
wait,
Plume Network. Well,
it
he was
was,
here briefly. You know, he
yeah,
had to go.
it had a frozen screen.
He
What do
made
you
a
mean?
cameo.
He
He
made a
made a
cameo.
cameo. True, true.
Wait,
Made sure Crazy was behaving.
but
It's
wait,
fine.
what? I thought it was American Pie guy. What's his name?
Jason Biggs.
Yeah, I thought it was Jason Biggs though that came on. Oh, okay, that was
Oh,
That's
cool, all right.
that's his screen name, Louis. We don't talk about that.
Oh, we don't. No,
secret.
that's true. That's secret. That's true. That's true. That's true. But anyways, first off, I want to thank the chat. You guys, man, really, you guys kept this thing rocking and rolling. You guys are freaking awesome. I love you all to death. But before I make my exit, the cool little exit, I want to ask you guys a question before that because this will be a small. All you got to do is say yes or no. Do you guys think, right, real quick? Do you guys think the UK Parliament is actually going to overthrow CMA's decision? Yes or no? Real quick. Silent,
What?
sour.
Oh, you asking us?
Yeah,
What was
yeah.
the
Yes or
question?
no? Do you think the UK government UK Parliament is actually going to overthrow the CMA's decision? They're going to cut it off and say, okay, you got to get. What do you guys think? You think they can
I,
actually do that or no?
I think quickly. I just think what's gonna happen, especially like if all the other countries starts approving, it's they're gonna go again and supposedly review it, and then they're gonna come with some concessions, and
All right.
that's what I think could happen.
How about you, Silent?
So as much as I want to just say, oh yeah, this thing is just that's going to get knocked out of the park now that these extra things have come to play. I do think Sour's right. There's going to be more concessions. I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft came out with another 10-year deal with someone. It's not going to be Sony, obviously, because Sony doesn't want to play ball, which to their detriment in this situation. It's just what it's going to be, I guess.
Honestly, I wouldn't doubt that. Actually, the next one might be Sony because
I
what the CMA could do is, Jim Ryan's passing them the little papers. They can be like, listen, we can't take more of these papers. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, you either
No,
take the deal or this is all over. So
will
they're
he,
gonna.
we'll
he
put
said
it this we'll put it this way. Honestly, personal preference from me. I kind of hope that Sony doesn't go with the reasonable move. I feel like Sony deserves to get slapped in the uncomfortables, the unmentionables, a couple times to prove them a point that like they've been a nightmare in this situation. They've been, it's like the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and they've continued to be the squeaky wheel, being a pain in the butt in this whole process. And I kind of hope that they get a little bit of what's coming to them because they've continued to be such a deterrent in this situation. Whether it gets passed or not, I think what comes around goes around. And I think we are going to see Sony end up getting their just desserts to an extent because they have been a nightmare from everything we've seen so far. But I do think there will be concessions. Unfortunately, I don't think we're out of the woods just yet.
Yep, agreed, 100%. Agreed. But anyways, thank you for answering the question. And sorry, I asked it. Sorry, sour. Again, hashtag sorry, sour. So,
It was a good
where can
question.
it was a good question. All right. So, where can you find the crazy ones? Simple and easy. You can find me at Twitter at Crazy Louis Gaming, where I say good morning and do all sorts of crazy stuff. Which, of course, after I move, guys, I promise you all we're gonna have much more better stuff on the good morning videos because really I have to move. I just been so stressful. With the moving and everything, sometimes I may skip a good morning because I probably may take something. Yeah, but either way, after I move, everything is gonna be back to normal. I promise you that. You can also find me on Mondays. On Mondays at the Xbox Launch Week Special at the Double Barrel Gaming YouTube channel with Mr. Boomstick, Mr. Web Dave, and Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. And Tuesdays, sometimes Thursdays, it may maybe a Friday, playing with Crazy, watching me play scary video games so you guys can enjoy. Watching me jump, watching me punch it. I will never punch a screen though. That's why I pull myself back because literally, I think if I didn't pull myself back this on this last scare, I was literally gonna break the screen. I think, yeah, but I pull myself back. Yeah, thank God I do that. But really, playing with Crazy here on the Xbox International Podcast. For you guys, for your enjoyment, watch me be scared. And last but not least, the Xbox International Podcast here at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays with Sourblow, Silent Cypher, and the Big Plume talking about what's going on each and every single week in the world of gaming. And like I say, hit.
Before you say it, real
Go
quick.
for it. Go for it.
June 7th, everyone in the chat, I would suggest you come to that show. We want your guys' participation, so we're gonna make a special episode that day. So,
All right, awesome.
We'll have more details as we get closer.
As we get
for
closer,
sure.
yeah.
All right, good stuff.
So say it, Crazy.
Like I say, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also hit that bell so I can tell you when next BI content comes on. And remember, let's go, let's rock, and let's
go Celtics.
No. Ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived at our destination. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off this live stream. On behalf of Xbox International, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we're looking forward to seeing you aboard next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.